Hey Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere you found me. This is Nathan. I'm here to give you guys a quick guide and a couple of different basic fundamental melee techs that anybody who's coming from Ultimate, you found out about Slippy rollback and wanted to check out the whole net play scene and play melee competitively for the first time, or you're just curious about what exactly I do or anybody you see in a video playing melee competitively is doing. This video will be going over a number of different techs. It's going to be pretty concise. I plan to make this as short as possible, while also as informative as it needs to be. I've got the hand cam just so you can see what I'm doing. I've got big hands, so obviously if you've got short hands or small hands or whatever, it may not be the same way. And then the overlay above, get right there. I'm going to be going over a couple different techs. This video is going to be time stamped in the description, so if you got any specific things you want to learn about, that should be in here as well. We'll be going over dash dancing, wave dashing, wave landing, L canceling, shield dropping, and shuffling. So we'll start with dash dancing. So dash dancing, everybody realize, like if you play Ultimate, you think dash dancing is this. But in Melee, it's a little bit different. So in Melee, you can cancel any part of the dash with another dash. You don't have to wait for the end lag to end. So a lot of Ultimate players, you don't know anything about Melee, that's something that's different, which allows you to do things like this, where you can change where you are by dashing left and right. And it can be confusing and it can give you space. So, if you're playing this game and you've got a main, I would recommend practicing by dash dancing with your main and making sure that you don't do stuff like this. If you're doing something like this, it means you're dashing too long in one direction. After this, without going like that, skirting around, you know, like your Need for Speed, then you're good. It helps you understand how to space yourself. It's very important in playing neutral. If you're playing at a lower level, oftentimes neutral's gonna look like a food fight, but if you think about what your opponent's doing, they might just be running up smashing. If you dash dance, you just run away from them. It's not that hard. This game can be offensive, but you gotta avoid them. So yeah, that's the implementation of dash dancing. I'd practice by going from this side of the stage to the other. Oh man, I messed it up. I'm going from one side of the stage to another. See? Something like that. If you can do that consistently, then you're on the right track. It's important because you need to figure out how to space yourself. And if you end up playing melee with somebody who plays neutral and tries to get in on you, dash dancing is going to help you get away from them. Alright. The next thing is wave dashing. Wave dashing, I think everybody knows what wave dashing is if you're familiar with Smash, at least competitively. But for those who are uninitiated, wave dashing is basically when you do an air dodge into the ground and it slides you across the ground. A lot of people see this as pretty daunting, the first melee tech that's a little difficult to understand. I'm going to slow it down though. So, the way you start is you jump, and then the second you jump, you come off the ground, you air dodge either left, you can look at the analog stick, or down right. So down left or down right. But you have to use one of these too. So you got to air dodge. If you're new to Melee or new to Smash, an air dodge is when you press the R button or the L button all the way down while in the air. So if you're looking at me right now, I'm air dodging. Unlike Ultimate, in Melee, you're permanently in free fall after you air dodge. Just keep that in mind if you're new. And unlike Ultimate, if you air dodge into the ground, you have much less lag. I think there's like 10 frames, which is actually pretty small, considering. See, you can do things like that. And the way you do that, as I've stated before, X or Y, followed by air dodge into the ground. What I would recommend is, unlike what a lot of other people say, I would recommend playing with your character. Do not pick somebody like Luigi and then go into slow-mo. You can go into slow-mo as long as it's like half or 2/3. But if you put yourself in 1/4, it's going to disorient yourself. I tried it and it caused me trouble personally. You can always try it if you want and if it works for you, and that's up to you. It's your preference. But I personally would not recommend doing that. I'd recommend maybe putting it a little bit slower just so you can kind of figure out where your buttons are going, what inputs you need to do to get the wave dash out. But I'd recommend wave dashing with a character that you plan to play. So if you're going to play main Falco, wave dash with Falco, because his wave dash is drastically different in timing than characters like Fox. Same with most other characters. right? Let's go back to practice. So the way I would practice is wave dash until you get it consistently, and once you can do that, wave dash across the stage like that, and try and get it fast too, like go like that. So next up is Wavelanding. So Wavelanding is different than wave dashing, believe it or not, because instead of doing it into the ground immediately after you jump, you're essentially doing the air dodge part like this into a platform or back into the ground after falling. So like that. See how I'm sliding into the platform? The reason this is important is because when you're playing a platform fighter like this, it's generally pretty helpful to have good movement options. In Ultimate, we understand this pretty clearly. That's why a lot of aerials are performed in neutral, because when you can use your aerials, you can maneuver around the air. That's just the options that you have to pick. In this game, grounded approaches, they're a lot better in certain regards. So, wave landing into a platform is pretty simple once you understand how you're supposed to do it. It's just that air dodge part once you get above the platform. And what's important to do when you practice is I want you to get this consistently across all stages, all legal stages. And for those who don't know, the legal stages currently with platforms, so FD, Final Destination, that one has no platforms, you can't do this on there obviously, is Pokemon Stadium, Frozen or Unfrozen, Battlefield, Yoshi's Island, Mountain of Dreams, and I believe Dreamland. Yeah, Dreamland. So those are the legal stages with platforms. So as you can tell, you know, we gotta only like 5 stages you gotta figure out the platforms for. But as you can tell, the difference in height is much different. This platform's a lot higher, so the timing's gonna be different. And this top platform is a lot closer than like Battlefield's platform. So it all matters, it all depends on timing and that sort of thing. So next up is lag canceling. So L canceling or lag canceling is performed, I'll tell you now, when you're about to hit the ground during an aerial, you press the L button or the R button or the Z button and your lag gets cut in half. So I'll show you Bowser. Lots of people use this as an example. Look how sluggish and how slow he is. What a low tier. Look at how dumb he looks. Falling over like a turtle. Idiot. Now watch me press L. He's a little bit faster. You can definitely tell. And the green signifies that I am doing this successfully. It reduces about half the lag. If you played Smash 64, then you would know. Why am I missing this? Okay. If you play Smash 64, you would know that in that game there's Z canceling, which is essentially the same thing with more leniency, but it cancels all lag. In this game, it's only half. But that still opens up a lot of movement options, especially for the higher tier characters, such as like Falco, right? Falco can't connect certain shine combos unless he L cancels his aerials. And so, if you're approaching an enemy and you L cancel the aerial, then you're going to be able to hit more combos than if you did. One thing is shield dropping. Now, this one I'm only going over because in the past couple years we've started to implement something called UCF. UCF is Universal Controller Fix. It basically fixes what people like to complain about, which is the controller dependent issue. Each controller is a little bit different than the other. I know some people would be like, what's the difference? Well, some controllers can't do dash back, which is basically, you see how I'm dashing immediately? Sometimes characters have turnaround animation. That gets fixed. So don't worry about that. You'll understand that if you get a little bit more invested in this game, what that actually means. The thing we're going to focus on though is shield dropping. Shield dropping is when you're shielding, believe it or not, and you drop. So the way you perform this, there's a couple methods, but the easiest method is you shield, hold right or left, and then drag your stick down. So like this. See? In one swift motion. Don't go too slow like this, because you'll never go down. But if you go like that, you will. So it's basically a timing thing. The reason this is important is for a couple of reasons. One, if you want to aerial in this position, technically the fastest way to do it is if you're shielding. You can instantly aerial as you drop through your platform. So let's say you know, Luigi's right here, and I shield drop back air, right? There's not a lot of things that are going to connect outside of like Shine, but even with Shine, I got to jump, and that's laggy, right? Because I'm Falco. So shield dropping is good for rebuttals. If somebody hits your shield, you can go psych. Oh, that was cool. Psych, and I'm hitting you. Or it's purely as an escape option, right? If somebody's attacking your shield, you can like, I'm out later, dude. Peace. That sort of thing. Pretty important overall. Yeah. Okay. So the way I would practice it is if you have Uncle Punch, then I would recommend going to the attack on shield option. I know this is 2.0. I think 1.1 is available to all people. There's still attack on shield. You go, oh, oops, not attack on shield. Sorry. It's probably shield drop training. My bad, guys. Shield drop training. See? And then you do that. What you can do is try to hit them, see how fast your move is and try to hit them. But you can practice it. You know, you just shield drop and then immediately throw an aerial out. But yeah, that's basically shield dropping. Last thing I want to go over, since we talked about lag canceling and all that, is putting it together and doing a shuffle, which is a short hop, fast fall, lag canceled aerial. Sounds like a lot. It's not once you figure out the particular movements. The first part of this, the short hop, obviously you're going to want to short hop. As so, right? Not too difficult. Next thing is to fast fall. And you need to fast fall at the peak of your jump. What a lot of people do is they hold down like immediately. And you see how I'm not fast falling? It's because you need to press down the second you hit the peak. You're not going to buffer. There's no buffering in this game. In Ultimate, there's like 12 frames of buffer. The only thing you can buffer in this game is down throw, and that's with C-Stick. And you can buffer spot dodges and stuff with C-Stick, and that's it. But in terms of your lag canceled aerials and your fast falls, you're not going to be able to buffer that. You have to time it. This is a timing game. Next thing I would recommend doing is aerial. Press the A button. You can, not too difficult, just press A after you press the X, Y, or up button. Alright, and then lastly we put it all together and we add that L button. So the reason that this is important, look at my camera. The reason this is important is because if you can do a shuffle, you understand when the peak of your short hop is. You gotta learn how to move around when you do it. Once you can do that, you can approach with an aerial, and that is so important in this game. Approaching with an aerial and being good at it, that is so important. Helps you get combos started. You've watched Mango. I'm sure many of you guys have watched Mango. You know, he dashes around and then he does something like that. You know, and he starts a combo by, he's like, you know, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, and then he hits you. And he fast falls and he lag cancels it. That's a shuffle. You gotta shuffle while moving. In place is the best way to start. And some aerials are good with C-Stick. It's all up to preference. And that's basically it for the shuffle. The way I would practice that is once you can consistently do this, I would run and try and do a nair, a neutral air, which is basically when you're pressing the A button and there's no direction being held. See? For the uninitiated. You got to do that with there's no C-Stick nairs in this game. Nothing like that. You have to do it with the A button. So yes. And yeah, that is the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a sub or a like or all that. Leave a comment if you didn't like it, dislike it. You know how it goes. I appreciate all the criticisms you guys have, and if you guys have any recommendations for a future video, I would totally be down to do any of those. So just leave a comment in the description. Alright, and I will catch you guys later.